Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's having an all right Tuesday morning, I guess. Tuesday, it's not a particularly exciting day. At least it's not Monday anymore, I guess. So Ebony and I are here today. We were just popping on. We wanted to answer any questions that people might have about our Parrot Training Academy. So obviously we have our PTA coming up again this year here in Brisbane and in Perth at the moment. So we wanted to give people the opportunity, if they're, if they've got any questions about Parrot Training Academy, what's included, what the process is, what you learn, give you the opportunity to jump on and ask those questions so we can answer them for you in a slightly different format than email or via text. So jump on and, if you've got any questions about PTA, if the question is, when are they coming to Melbourne or Sydney? The answer is, I don't know yet, guys, as much as I want to bring them to you. It's a lot of organisation, and we really need people on the ground to cover those areas, because it just, it takes a lot out of us. It's a big endeavour, but we love doing them, which is why we keep doing them every year, even though it's kind of exhausting for us to do them. So this year we have structured them a tiny bit differently. So I did get a question about this from someone that's booked in to attend Perth this year. So in previous years, we have done PTA over 2 days on a weekend, so a Saturday and a Sunday. And normally on the Saturday, we go from about 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And then on Sunday, we do 9 a.m. until noon. This year, we have decided to try and do them on a 1 day instead. So instead of doing 2 shorter days, we're doing 1 slightly longer day. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Obviously, our consultants are very busy people. And so trying to nab them for an entire weekend can be difficult sometimes. But we also know our clients are really busy people as well, which means that trying to schedule out a whole weekend for them to come to a workshop can be really difficult. So the content is exactly the same. We haven't cut anything out. We're not doing anything differently. The content is exactly the same. It's just presented over a 1 day period instead of over a 2 day period. So yes, that's, I guess, a little bit of information on that. So the dates for this year, Ebony, do you want to run through your Perth dates and location and anything that's kind of Perth specific? She's going to have to double check the dates.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I know it's May,
June, July. Yeah.
Yes. So Perth this year, we are on Sunday, the 29th of May is PTA 101. So that's our basic foundations environmental setup. We've also got PTA 201 on June 26th, which is also a Sunday. And then we have got our final 301 on July 24th, a Sunday again, because that is the easiest day for Cass and I to be together. So we have done it, and most people find Sunday a bit easier to attend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So last year, obviously, I had to Zoom in and present it that way, but it'll be awesome for you guys to be together again this year presenting it.
Yeah. So the venue in Caversham this year. Yeah, Caversham. So it's a new community centre that hasn't been around for too long. So it's very nice and clean. It's a good big space. There's also a playground, if anyone's interested, attached to our room. So we've got a really nice setup in there. So we've got a little bit more wiggle room to have a play with the birds that do come, or my birds or Cassie's birds, depending who makes the cut, who's behaving well on the day. But we get to interact with them all, help you guys learn answer all your questions, help you with your diet, your training, your environment, help you problem solve some of those problems that are sneaking through or things you don't like, and help you tweak them so you get the bird that you were hoping to have, or maybe not, something a bit different. They always surprise you.
Yes, that's it. Never go into having an animal with expectations, for sure. Awesome.
They always
really
do the
cool.
opposite.
Yeah, super excited about the new location. Obviously, we have been super lucky and we're very thankful to Perth Pet Vet who have hosted us the last couple of years previously. But we feel like we need a little bit more space to fit everybody and their birds in, to make it, you know, to just give everyone the space they need to work with their birds and that. So I'm super excited about that new venue there in Perth this year, which is wonderful. So in Brisbane, our dates are on Saturdays here in Brisbane. So we've got Saturday the 11th of June, Saturday the 16th of July, and Saturday the 20th of August for our sessions here in Brisbane. We will once again be at the Yarrabah Conference Centre in Eaton's Hill. So we used that venue last year and it was wonderful. It's actually a really big space. We're super lucky to get it. So it's a really nice, large open space, smack bang on the Pine River. So we have a really nice view if you're sitting out on the patio for lunch. It's got a really great view of the Pine River there. It's a really nice big venue. So we're super lucky to be able to book that out for these sessions as well. So yeah, we'll be doing that there again. And then hopefully we'll get a few people along to join us for those. Colleen's got a question. She says, are all of the sessions the same? So Colleen, I'm assuming you're asking, are PTA 101, 201 and 301 the same? The answer to that is no, they are not. Each workshop builds on the information provided in the previous workshop and expands on it. So, and they're kind of, a continuation on. So PTA 101 is exactly what you'd expect from a 101. Kind of covers off on all of the basics, the things that we think that every parrot owner should know and understand when they have a parrot. So this is, we take an in-depth look at both wild bird behaviour and captive bird behaviour and the similarities and differences between those. We dive into parrot body language, how to read it and how to use parrot body language observation in your training. We talk about how we can set up our environment for desired behaviour. So we, deep dive into things like your bird's diet and how to ensure that we're getting them eating an adequate and appropriate diet and how that affects behaviour. We talk about things like social interactions, multi-bird households, setting up cages and aviaries. We talk a bit about hormones and how those sort of things affect our environment. And then we start to touch base on training theory. So the basics of training theory, principles and then basic applications. And then of course in that we also have birds that come along, and so we can do demos on all of these different topics with the live birds that are there with us on the day. So that's PTA 101. To attend 101, there's no prerequisites. You can it's open for everybody. So and like I said, it's what we think all parrot owners should kind of know and understand when they're having these animals in their home environment. So from there, obviously we move into PTA 201. 201 is focuses on foundation behaviours and training for medical procedures, cooperative care. So another area that we're really passionate about, because we can significantly reduce our birds' stress if we train them to behave cooperatively and engage in cooperative behaviours for medical care and general husbandry. So we dive into core foundation behaviours there, how to train them, break those behaviours down into small manageable pieces and show you how to train them from basically scratch with your birds. And then we talk about fear-free handling, taming, crating, target training, recall, flight training, and a lot more. We also talk about how to make our vet visits a bit more stress-free, and we kind of jump into how to train, how to go from those foundation behaviours that we've already taught our birds to applying those to training more advanced behaviours that help with the cooperative care. So things like syringe training, towel training, nail grooming, cooperative restraints, scales, basically, you name it, we kind of work on it. And then obviously, like I said, we have live birds there to do training with. And normally what we do is we have an avian vet come along to that session as well, and have a chat to us and present some information on how stress affects our birds, and why it's so important, not just for your bird, but for yourself, your vets, your vet staff, to work on training your birds for veterinary care. So that's PTA 201. And then PTA 301 is our advanced applications and behaviour modifications. So now you've got the basics of training, the basics of behaviour. You understand captive and wild bird behaviour. You have foundation behaviours trained. You're working on those more advanced cooperative care procedures. This 301, it focuses on really advanced applications. So things like shaping behavior, so shaping complex behaviors, working on harness training, chained behaviors, which is a series of behaviors that follow on from each other, one after the other, and how you can build chained behaviors to teach really fun stuff like circle flights around a room and that sort of stuff. And we also learn about problem behaviors. So we take a deep dive into problem behaviors that we commonly see in parrots, things like screaming, feather destructive behavior, biting, how we can then apply what you've learnt about training and behavior to modifying and correcting those major behavioral issues that we see. And then obviously, again, working with live birds. So yeah, 301's not, you know, so each workshop kind of, you know, like I said, 101 we'd recommend for everybody everywhere that has a bird or is even interested in getting a bird. 201, again, I would kind of be like, hey guys, that's, you know, that's really important if you've got a bird. 301 is for more of the behavior geeks out there, the nerds who want to learn a bit more about like the really nitty gritty behavior stuff. So Ebony, anything to add to those?
I love 301. Last year we were teaching them how to play a xylophone and just doing whatever musical instruments or things I've hoarded for the last 5 years. Yep. So that was fun to finally get most of them out and start working on those. But it's really nice to see all those people that do the 3 and just the knowledge that they gain. So from the first one even to the second one and the work they've done, you can see that bond and those changes and hearing that feedback and how much happier they feel with interacting with their birds, and they've noticed that their birds are happier after we've talked about our enrichment and our diet and improving those things. You start to see that difference within the 4 or 5 weeks between the courses. So that's always really nice. And just getting to know everyone over those couple of months, because then you see them out and about. We were lucky to see one of our PTAs from last year at the markets, and we just had a really great chat about how his birds were going, and it's always really nice to get those updates. So you should come along Josh? So we can talk all the time.
Yeah. Was that Josh? Yeah. His partner's booked in to come.
Hi, Josh, if you're watching.
Yeah. So he's booked his partner in, so she's coming along as well this year. I think. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And look, I think like something that I want to. I guess I also, last week I was going back over the videos and everything that we took, like legitimately, like so many videos and photos from last year's sessions. I think there was something like 400 different photos and videos I was looking through. And the other thing that I really love about the PTA is that it's very, it's driven by the attendees as well. So although we do have presentations and content that we get through, it's really attendee driven as well. So the questions that attendees ask can take us off on totally different kind of tangents. And so I was listening to some of the things we spoke about during sessions, and I was like, it's super cool because that's stuff that, you know, it's not necessarily in the it's not necessarily in there specifically, but we've got enough time in there to cover off on those questions that clients have and really sometimes deep dive into them as well. So, and everybody's always got really fantastic questions. Our attendees have really got awesome questions. So I really appreciate the people that ask questions. And usually everyone's shy the first few hours and then they come out of their shell. And like you said, everyone gets to know each other. So it's not just us getting to know the clients, but the clients end up getting to know each other. And I'm pretty sure a few of my clients from Brisbane last year gave their numbers out to each other and stayed in touch. So you also make crazy parrot people friends.
You always need a few of them. We're an exclusive club.
Yeah, exactly. You need people that understand you need people that understand you that, and not everybody understands people who love parrots. So so Debbie's asked, where is it being done? So Debbie, this year we have it here in Brisbane at Eaton's Hill and in Perth at Caversham. So Eaton's Hill in Brisbane and Caversham in Perth currently. Mike has asked, do any of the sessions cover pros and cons of free flight training? Not so much training for free flight. Good question. It almost always comes up. So it's one of those questions that isn't necessarily covered in the official curriculum, but that we absolutely generally get asked about at some stage during 101 or 201 or both. And so we do usually end up having a conversation around free flight training, pros, cons. Like I said, not so much the training side of things, but going through what people need to be aware of, and also areas that they can do more research and find out more information about that. So we often send people to the Avian Behaviour International website, where they've got a couple of really good blog posts on free flight training. And a couple of other resources that we normally send people to. So it does come up. We do chat about some of it. And we do, like I said, send people off to some of those other resources that they can really dig into and find out a bit more about it. Colleen has said, if wanting to do all three, is there a package deal? I'd be very interested in doing the three, as I've got feather destructive ring neck. Really excellent question, and the answer is yes. Workshop pricing, and so this answers Joanne's question as well, who's asked what the cost is. So so we have 1, 2, and 3 session prices essentially. So if you just want to come to one workshop, then the cost of that one workshop is $199. Included in all of these is I'll come back to that actually. So one workshop, which is your 8-hour day, is $199. If you want to do 2 workshops, then the cost is $369. If you want to do 3 workshops, then the cost is $529. So if you're booking 2 workshops or 3 workshops together at the same time, there is a package deal essentially. Whereas if you book just one workshop, it's just the $199. And then if you were to go down the track and decide that you wanted to come along to one of the second ones later, normally what we do is, if you're at PTA 101 and you're like, wow, this is fantastic, I really, really want to book in for PTA 201, then we'll still give you the package deal then as well. But the biggest thing we do obviously recommend is just keeping in mind that we can only have a certain amount of people at workshops and things like that. So also making sure that you don't miss out, because sometimes what will happen is we'll have clients from last year who didn't do the later sessions decide to come back and do the later sessions this year, which can mean that they may book out if you're wanting to do them but haven't paid for them yet. So that's something to keep in mind as well. We can only have so many clients and birds in the session, so that we can make sure we're still giving everybody lots of personalised attention and stuff like that as well. I'll just run you through. So obviously included in every workshop attendance is the attendance, so coming along to the workshop. We include morning and afternoon tea and refreshments, so tea, coffee, drinks, some snacks, usually something delicious, muffins, biscuits, things like that, where we feed our birds healthy. We don't feed our clients healthy. No, there's normally some veggies and stuff in there as well. We don't do lunch. It is BYO lunch. We also provide digital copies of workshop presentations to everybody. Every attendee also gets a gift bag. In the gift bag, we have clickers, pens, notebooks, We usually have some samples from some of our partners. So, usually we've got some pellet samples in there, and discount vouchers for some of the businesses that we work closely with. You also get 10% off all of our shop products for 6 months. So you get a voucher code to use in our shop, our online shop, for 6 months. And we also provide $20 off for all private consultations booked within 12 months of PTA 101. So that's kind of what's included in the price of every of those workshops as well. So that hopefully answered both Colleen and Joanne's questions there. Colleen has asked how many people are normally at a session. We max it out at 20 people, but normally we look at around 12 to 15 people is usually our normal kind of attendee rate. Awesome. Any other questions in the meantime? Again, Ebony, anything to add to what I've been jabbering on about for the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, and it's not just for parrot owners too, it's also for those that work in your pet stores, at your vet clinics,
yes,
boarding kennels, any of those in the industry who want to learn a little bit more, because that bird information can be hard to find. Or good bird information can be hard to find. So if you want to come along, you're more than welcome. If you're a clinic and you want some flyers, please let us know so we can come drop them off to you. Cassie and I will be doing that as soon as they arrive, whenever they arrive. Australia Post hasn't been great at the moment. But if you would like us to swing by, whether it with PTA flyers or just general information pamphlets, or you want to have a chat, let us know so we can add you to our drop list. And we can put names to faces, which is always very nice.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point as well. Like you said, it's not just for parrot owners. These workshops are great for anyone who comes into contact with parrots or parrot owners themselves. So yeah, pet shop employees who maybe want to learn a bit more about, parrot behavior could come to 101 and really go away with a lot of information that can help you better place, better help people that are coming into your store asking for information, people that work in bird shops, people that work in vet clinics, that anyone that really wants to learn more. We've had people from dog training backgrounds that just want to learn a bit more about parrots, or think that, as a previous dog trainer myself, and Ebony also works with dogs as well, but my initial background was in dog training. Learning to work with other species is a really awesome way to hone your skills. So dog trainers who want to just hone their skills, learn a bit more about different species, get some different hands-on experience. And honestly, working with parrots is a really cool way to do that, because it's so different to working with dogs.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, zoo professionals. So we've had previously marine mammal keepers and zookeepers and things attend our workshops as well to learn a bit more about the training and behaviour side of things to go along with their husbandry and conservation knowledge. So yeah, don't be shy if it's not just for parrot parents. It's also for anybody who works with parrots or works with birds or avians, or doesn't work with those species but just wants to really hone their behaviour and training skills a bit. Awesome. Joanne has asked, is there an option for watching the workshops via live stream or DVD rather than having to travel to Queensland or WA? Joanne, our PTA 101 is available. I will pull this up on here. I'm just going to share my screen for you. So we are working on having them all available online as well. Share screen, share that one. So if you hop over to our website and you hit online courses up here, we have a number of online courses, and as you can see, Parrot Training Academy is available there. So that's our PTA 101 as a full online course. So yes, if you aren't available, obviously this is self-paced, so you can't ask us questions in that, so it's not quite as interactive, but it does exist there if you'd like to go and do that online instead if you're not based in Queensland or WA at the moment. We are working towards having our 201 and 301 online for people that are outside of Australia or outside of those major areas that we currently provide them in. So that's the option there, hopefully. So if you want to jump on and do it that way, you can. Awesome. Colleen has said, if you book into a session and something comes up and we can't make it to Brisbane, what would happen then? Colleen, it's we generally just encourage clients, obviously, to reach out to us as soon as possible to let us know if they can't make a session. It's just a case of letting us know as early as possible, and then generally we look at it as a a situation by situation sort of setup. Obviously, we've had to be pretty flexible in the last couple of years due to COVID and travel restrictions and changes in what can be done. So we've learned to kind of work with things on the fly and make it work for everybody. So generally what we do is just recommend that you reach out to us as soon as you're able to let us know if something's popped up and you're not able to make it to a session, and we can make it, kind of go from there and organise something else. Excellent. Cool. Good questions. Excellent. Well, not sure if anybody else is. I did just pop some links up in the comments on Facebook, not on YouTube, but on Facebook, just to enroll it, and also to the page on our website that kind of covers off on all of this information as well. Ebony, anything else to add?
It's just a really good 3 workshops, not to brag about what we do, because I attended them before I was an intern and before I was a consultant, and I was the opposite of Lee. I kind of started with an interest in bird training and switched over to dogs, so it always is very special to me when we do our PTA, and you just learn so much in those 3 sessions, and it just improves your bond with your bird. You understand that little weirdo that lives in your house a whole lot better, and it just improves your quality of life. Once you wrap your head around some of that training theory, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah. And look, like you, before I worked for Parrot Life, I actually that's how I kind of got involved with Parrot Life, was I started attending Parrot Training Academy workshops. So I was working as a dog trainer. I was living in WA, but like remote WA at the time, got my Eckie, and I was like, wow. Just naturally became super interested in bird behaviour, obviously, because I was already working with dog behaviour. So I saw the Parrot Training Academies coming up in Perth, and so I flew down to Perth on three different weekends to attend them from Port Hedland. And look, as you know, I had a really solid background in behaviour and training, and I still found every one of the workshops, all 3, really informative and fun. So even if you already have kind of a bit of a background in birds, or you've got a bit of a background in training, honestly, the information included is really, really good. Again, like Ebony, not to brag about what we do, but the information is really fantastic. And as someone who was coming from a background where I already had a lot of that really basic stuff down pat, I still found it super interesting to talk to people who had been applying it with birds for a long time, and discuss the nuances of that with people that had been working with birds for a long time over dogs. So, and I still went away with a lot of information and a lot of things to think about and implement with my 1 bird at that time that's increased to 4 birds. So. Yeah, awesome. Well, we haven't got any more questions, so I think we'll start to wrap it up now. Ebony, any last words to say before we finish up for the day?
If you want to head to Perth, try and get in nice and early with your booking, so we can make sure you've got a spot, because we've had a lot of questions about running them over the last few years, because we had to miss a year because of COVID. So I know there's a little bit of backlog out there, and we've changed that format to try and help everyone attend if they can, because 2 days can be hard, not just for us, but for you guys as well. So just book in as soon as possible so you can secure your spot. And if you want to bring your birds, especially, make sure you're booking in nice and early, because we do require those health checks to keep everyone safe. So just make sure you're booking in so we can have that all organised and ready to go, so it's not a stressful run around at the last minute.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. On that topic as well, we will only be approving a certain amount of birds to come. So with bird approvals, it will be kind of a first in, best dressed. So the people that apply for their birds first and get approval are the people that will be able to bring their birds, and we'll have to max it out at probably 3 or 4 client birds along to the session. So if you don't book in until later but want to bring your bird, but we've already maxed out the number of birds that we can bring, then unfortunately we won't be able to accept your bird. Birds are subject to approval, so obviously we want to make sure that we don't want birds to be stressed out. So we do require that you fill in a form to tell us about your bird, and we'll provide you with approval. And then, like Ebony was pointing out, you also, so that people are safe, but also especially because we have several birds there, we require that they undergo health checks if they're coming along. And so it takes usually about 4 weeks or we recommend giving it at least 4 weeks to get test results back. So you also want to make sure that if you are intending on bringing your bird, that you're booking your spot before that 4 weeks. Otherwise, it becomes a bit of a rush and you may not get your test results back in time to bring your bird along. Colleen has said, do you have to bring the bird to the sessions? Colleen, no, not at all. We generally have an instructor will usually bring 1 or 2 of their birds along, just dependent on what we're covering off on that day, and also client birds. And then we usually encourage, and then we have usually a couple of client birds come along as well, somewhere between 2 and 4 client birds attending each day as well. So there's usually plenty of birds, and everyone usually gets a chance to work with a variety of birds, just depending on the comfort levels of the birds, working with strangers and stuff. But you definitely don't need to bring a bird to a session at all. Awesome, cool. Well, that's it, everyone. Obviously, if you're watching this later and you have a question, still feel free to pop it down in the comments. It'll just be a case of we'll type the response to you. We hope that cleared up some questions and concerns that anyone might have had about the workshops, and we certainly hope to see some of you later in the year attending. And obviously, if you are in Melbourne or Sydney and would like a session, we will hopefully be able to organise those at some stage. I promise you we really want to. It's just, like I said earlier, a very big endeavour for us, and usually requires people on the ground to get it done. I know that Ebony's my go-to girl for Perth, and she's super helpful. And if it wasn't for Ebony, it'd be very difficult for me to organise.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Some good positive reinforcement on a Tuesday morning.
All right, everyone. Well, have a wonderful Tuesday. Look out, because next Wednesday evening I have another live event coming to you with a very special guest. So I'll be posting about that this week so that people can join in. We have a really cool, very important topic to cover off on with that live event. So hopefully I'll see some of you back tuning in next week. All right. Have a fantastic Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for joining me, Eb.
No worries.